Welcome to Sexual Abuse, the questions you've never had the chance to ask. This is the video series where I get 2 minutes to try and answer your questions on consent, sexual violence or domestic abuse. The question for this episode is, what can my university do to help students understand consent? Most universities seem to try to tackle the issue of consent using some kind of workshop, so in 2 minutes I'm going to give you 3 tips. Ever since your students were toddlers and they mastered the word no, they have been learning about permission, ownership, and how to express their own consent or lack of consent. I'm sure they're managing to navigate the university without a sense of entitlement to other people's belongings. I'm sure they know that if they want to use somebody else's lecture notes, they need to ask for their permission. So demystify consent for sexual activity by helping your students draw the parallels between how they get and express consent in other areas of life and how they should be navigating consent for sex. Yes, all of your students need to understand the relationship between a culture of sexual harassment and subsequent sexual violence. And yes, some of your students might need some guidance in order to not be a dick. But around 8% of boys experience some form of sexual violence in childhood, which means that your male students are more likely to be victims of sexual violence than potential perpetrators of sexual violence. Your male students are survivors. They're bystanders to potential abuse. They're the person that people disclose to, and they are the sexual partners of people who have been sexually violated in the past. The don't be a rapist approach is insulting to your male students. It probably doesn't work on the potential rapists within your student community, and it doesn't support your male students in their roles as survivors, bystanders, and partners. Another reason why I'm not a fan of the don't be a rapist approach to workshops is because consent has much more to offer your students than just a way of avoiding sexual violation. Consent is the only way to have really, really good sex. It's the only way to find mutual pleasure. It's the only way to have the best possible sex with this particular sexual partner. So don't just make your workshops about avoiding harm. Make them about pleasure. And if you don't know how to do that, get in touch with me and we can talk about me and my team coming to your university to perform Why Patriarchy Makes You Bad in Bed with your students. When you make this content relevant and interesting to everybody, which it is, you'll find that people will happily, voluntarily engage with the content. Thanks for listening. For more resources, including my books, more videos, and my online learning platform for anyone who wants to know more about responding to sexual violence at universities, please check out my website. See you next time.